So since so many people asked on the live with Casey the other day about Sanella Diana Jenkins, and I was too drunk to actually answer properly because it was well into the live. I think our live party went 2 hours last week, and we were just all having so much fun, including everyone watching and interacting. Anyway, so I was like, geez, I don't even know what the hell I said. I better I better do a video about this today. So anyway, I always call her Diana Jenkins. I don't know why. Her first name is Sanella. I don't know why. I probably, because I'm scared I'll say it wrong. But anyway, Sanella Diana Jenkins purportedly is coming on The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills season 12 as Kathy Hilton's friend, which is weird because I think she's actually known Lisa Rinna for many, many years because Lisa Rinna recently posted on her Instagram a picture from room 23 from Diane's book. And Lisa Rinna's picture, she's naked on the floor under a table holding her boobs. And so I don't know what her fictional story is of her under the table naked holding her boobs, but so the name of the book is Room 23, and Lisa Rinna was featured in this book when this book came out. It came out a long time ago. It's about $350. It's a photography book like you'd put on your, what do they call that, coffee table book. And it features a room 23, which is supposed to be this penthouse that it's a fictional penthouse in the Peninsula Hotel that all of these scandalous Hollywood things happen. And these photographs are friends of Sanella Diana's that appear in it. She is super amounts of celebrity friends from being a socialite, and I think actually mostly backing their projects over the years. So she's built up a great network. And a lot of those celebrities came out to do these scandalous pictures in this book to help her raise money for human rights. Now, Deborah Anderson is the photographer behind the book, and she did also the art direction, which is really, really, it's quite stunning, actually. The pictures are really fun. They're entertaining. It's fun to imagine what the stories are, these fictional stories that this photographer is setting up with these celebrities, like Cindy Crawford in her bathrobe. And anyway, I'm going back to calling Selina Diana because I think most people call her Diana. But anyway, so Diana has like a threesome picture where she's with all these boys in the hotel room. Then there's some less scandalous ones of people like, famous people reading scripts or looking out the window or being dressed up like they're about ready to go to an award show. Larry King's in it, George Clooney's in it, being silly. It's a star-studded book, let's just say that. And so all the proceeds from this book that took place in the Peninsula Hotel, actually it was shot at the Peninsula Hotel, went to the proceeds of Diana's human rights charity. But Sanella was born, and I'm going to read this briefly because I always get confused with names and locations because I'm like a grandma. She was from Bosnia, and of course she lives in California now, and she left her home country during the siege of Sarajevo, and she immigrated initially to London, and she studied at the City University of London. So the book benefited the Ernest Kadick Foundation, which was created in honor of her brother who died in the Bosnian conflict. My understanding of the story was that she was in London and she couldn't get home. She couldn't afford to go home, or she couldn't get home. She couldn't help her brother. And by the time she was able to, I guess, get a situation figured out that he was missing and perished during this conflict. And so as a result of it, she founded this human rights charity to raise money and awareness about, human rights infringement. She met her husband, Roger Jenkins, purportedly at the gym in London called Barbican. And yes, there were rumors around, whether or not that was really the way they met, but that's the public story. And they had, he said, a kind of a bohemian hippie relationship. I'm not sure what that means. I should probably put a filter on for that. Hold on. I think I mentioned the hippie romance between Diana and Roger Jenkins. Well, she was quoted as saying that most people believed when she came to London that she was an Eastern European mail order bride. So you're going to now see where some of the rumors that surround Diana and her hookup with Roger Jenkins, her rags to riches story, come from. She also has supposedly ties to many kind of strange, mysterious places, let's say, like the Vatican. Roger Jenkins is a banker, and, when they met in London, he was rich, but he wasn't as rich as he became. And they were together for quite some time, but they did break up. And he now is with a Brazilian model who's very young, and Diana's single. She just actually sold her $80 million house in Malibu and downsized to a $13 million house. That house, I believe, was the house that Kim Kardashian shot in for the last season of Keeping Up with the Kardashian. And I think Kim mentioned that a friend of hers had let her rent that house and so on. And that was Diana Jenkins. So probably because she was selling it. So it was good for her to get it out there, publicly. So that's that. Yeah, so there's some news. Anyway, if I didn't mention it, Roger Jenkins is British, and he's famous for tax structures, and he's kind of a genius at it. He also was an athlete. I mean, that's also important, very healthy. There's a 20-plus age difference between Diana Jenkins and Roger. I should point that out. So he seems to have a pattern of dating much, much, much younger, or marrying much, much, much younger women. Diana had it rough. She had no passport, no money when she came to Britain, and just nothing. And she worked as a cleaner, and she worked as a babysitter and a waitress. And the thing is that, when Roger Jenkins was, at one of the highest points in his career, he was making £75 million a year. So, this really is a Cinderella story, the story of Diana meeting Roger and having this whole transformation. Anyway, she has been in the tabloids for years in the UK. She's loaded. Roger Jenkins left her ridiculous properties. She's so rich. She's probably richer than Sutton. Wow. Yeah, you guys should definitely marry a banker, I'm thinking. They don't seem like they're the most loving people, but if you're looking to set yourself up for life, here you go. Anyway, she was rumored to have had affairs with Ferdinand and Justin Timberlake. He's a footballer, by the way. And who else? Guy Ritchie. Okay, so anyway, whatever. I don't know if any of that's true, but those are the rumors. So now I'm going to tell you a really compelling... Okay, this is from Daily Mail, and this is a good summary of her life, okay? Her mother was an accountant and her father an economist. Their daughter was a graduate of the University of Sarajevo. When war broke out with Serbia, her family begged her to leave, fearing what would happen to her if she didn't. Unable to speak English, she started her London life, working in a Covent Garden store, earning £2 an hour. They didn't have minimum wage back in the early 90s? Okay. She managed to save up enough money to enroll for a degree in computer science at City University. In 1995, 8 days before the war in Bosnia ended, she received a call telling her that her 21-year-old brother had been murdered. I almost died because I couldn't cope with the pain, she says, so I reinvented myself for survival. That year, Sinella died and I became Diana. So I'm right. Everybody does call her Diana. I thought so. Enter Roger Jenkins. They met, she says, at a gym in the city and took him 4 months to persuade her to go on a date with him. No doubt that this is true. After they married, one of the first things the new Mrs. Jenkins did was to invite her Bosnian parents to join her in Britain. By the way, she was pregnant with her first child when they got married, very pregnant. And he wasn't broke. Like Roger had a $1.2 million, 1.2 million or even maybe 2 million pound condo in England. Okay. So, I mean, in London. So he was not like poor or anything. Okay. All right. Just saying. Okay. She also supports, so after they married, one of the first things the new Mrs. Jenkins did was to invite her Bosnian parents to join her in Britain. She also supports other members of her extended family. Roger is clearly besotted with his young wife, and would it seem would do anything to please her. And so that's kind of interesting. So in this article in Tatler, they asked Roger about, like, this is while he's still married to Diana. What do you think about being with Diana forever? This is after they married. And he said, I hope I am with Diana for a very long time, he replied. But what did she say? She said, I might be with him or I might not be with him. Who knows what tomorrow brings? So this is obviously a very kind of strange love affair, huh? Roger said that, like, Diana was an amazing strategist, and although he was very intelligent and obviously an expert at what he did in the banking world, Diana's strategies that she put in place and her ability to network really put him on a whole different playing field, which is how he ended up being like one of the top earners. And Diana, it was rumored, had charmed the Qatari family, Saudi, into parting with billions to take a stake in Barclay Bank, which was a crucial moment during the banking crisis. So she's like, she hustles, this lady, all right? We got to give her that. This is like a great, like, wow, very impressive. Anyway, she's done an energy drink, a bikini line, and of course the book that I talked about earlier, Room 23. She loves money, and she loves to spend it. Well, she'll make a great addition to season 12 of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this confessional. Not confessional video. Sorry, I'm not on the Patreon. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, like, subscribe. And if you want to send me a tip, there's a tip jar in the right-hand corner of my channel. It's a link. Or join the Patreon and support me that way, which is also great. And we can share even juicier gossip on there. Okay, guys. Mwah.